All right, so we're going to do a quiz review. We're having a quiz on reducing radicals and Pythagorean Theorem. So, looking at number 1, I have a right triangle. Please remember to always label C, and then A and B are the other two, right? So if I'm going to do Pythagorean Theorem, I got to remember that's A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So, let's write it out. A, I labeled as 4 squared, plus B, I labeled as 9 squared, equals C, which is going to be x squared. Got to do my math. 4 squared is 16. 9 squared is 81. Still equals x squared. I'm going to combine those like terms. The 16 plus 81 is on the same side of the equal sign, so I can actually add them up, and I'm going to get 97. To get rid of that square, I'm going to do square root. Cancels out the square. And if I do it on one side, I got to do it on the other side. And then the question becomes, can I reduce 97? We cannot, and it says to leave it in simplified radical form. So guess what the answer is? Square root of 97. Okay, that's it. On number 2, we're going to do the exact same thing. Label first. So across from the 90, that's C. And then pick your A, pick your B. Remember, A and B can be switched around. It doesn't matter. So let's set it up. A squared, so 2 squared, plus B squared, x squared. See how the x can sometimes be a leg? Equals 14 squared. So again, if you have a missing leg, one of the sides on the side of the 90, if that's missing, then you're going to have to set it up correctly, and you will have to subtract. But we'll see that here in a second. 2 squared is 4, plus x squared, and then 14 squared, 196. Okay, so, like we just said, I'm trying to get x by itself, so I need to get rid of this 4, so I'm going to have to subtract it. 196 minus 4. So x squared equals 192. And like we said a second ago, we need to reduce the, we need to cancel out the square root sign. And so we're going to end up getting x equals, and we need to see if we can break down 192. It's even, so we're going to have 2 times, and then we're going to have 96, and then 96 is even, so that's 2 times 48, and then 48 is even, 2 times 24, 24 is even, 2 times 12, 12 is even, 2 times 6, and 6 is even, 2 times 3. I'm going to cross out all the stuff that I broke down. Now that's a lot of factors, so let's circle our pairs. Pair, cross, pair, cross, pair, cross. So check it out. I got 3 pairs. What do I do with my 3 pairs? They're going out, and they're going to multiply. Please multiply. So 2, 2, and 2, when I multiply them, I'm not going to get 6. It's not 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Alright? Square root sign, and my loner 3 is going to stay inside. So I got 8 square root of 3. So do you see how to do this? You use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Make sure you label them, set it up. If you're missing the hypotenuse, then you're going to add your squares and then square root. If you're missing a leg, then you're going to subtract your legs and square root. And then you must reduce the radical, which we're going to get some practice on number 3 again. So let's do that. 1260, let's break it down. 2 times 630. We've seen this one on our notes before. 2 times 315. Okay, not even, so 3 times 105. And then again, 3 times 35. And then 5 times 7. I got pair of 2, pair of 3. And then I have 2 loners. So remember, the 2 pairs multiply. 2 times 3 is not 5, it's 6. And then the 2 loners, 5 times 7, 35. Okay? Number 4, remember you must multiply the outside first. 5 times 2 is 10. And then you multiply the inside. 7 times 3, 21. Okay? On number 5, you can only combine like terms. Okay? So 1 square root of 3 minus 3 square root of 3. Those are like terms. So let's combine those. 1 minus 3. Negative 2 square root of 3. And the one that's different, you bring it down. Plus 5 square root of 2. Okay, that's it. So again, you combine what you can. You combine the same square roots, and then you bring down the one that's different. That does not combine. Okay, we got some on the back side. If you flip it over, we have some word problems, but they're not too hard if you read it. So be careful. Let's read this. A pool floaty measures 8 feet long. Okay, so label it on the length, 8. And it has a diagonal measurement. I hope you know what a diagonal is. Okay, so a diagonal looks like this, from this corner to this corner. So draw yourself a line across. Doesn't have to be nice or perfect. And we're going to label that 9.2. And since it is a rectangular looking floaty, we'll put a little right angle right here. And guess what we have right here? A right triangle. And we are missing the width. So, like we've done before, we think, how do I solve this? If it's a right triangle, missing a side, it's going to be Pythagorean Theorem. So, across from the 90 is C, A, and B, right? So A squared is 8 squared, plus B squared is X squared, equals C squared, which is 9.2 squared. And we do the math. 8 squared is 64, plus X squared equals, and then we got to use our calculator, 9.2 squared. So here we go. 9.2 squared, 84.64. So remember, missing a leg means I'm going to have to subtract. So, and that's because 64 is the loner on this side. So minus 64, minus 64. X squared equal sign, and then we have 20.64 when you subtract. And just like before, I'm going to get rid of the square by square rooting, but this time I am going to type it in the calculator because I need to be able to round and get a number. So remember, word problems, give me the decimal. Okay, decimals are great on the word problems because I need an exact amount. So let's do the square root of 20.64. So control X squared. You can see it right there, right? And then we're going to do 20.64. And we get 4.54. The 3 keeps it the same. So 4.54. And my units of measure are feet. Alright. Last but not least, I got a baseball diamond. It's a square with the sides of 80 feet. 80. Since it's a diamond, all the sides are the same. And they want to know the shortest distance to the nearest tenth of a foot between first and third base. So why don't we draw a line between first and third base? Now I see that I have a right triangle. 80 and 80 are my legs. I'm missing my hypotenuse. right? Across from the 9D is C, A, and B. So we do the Pythagorean theorem again. 80 squared plus 80 squared equals x squared. I know both my legs, and I do not know my hypotenuse from first to third base. So 80 squared plus 80 squared, I could do that step in one, because those are going to be added together. I get 12,800 equals x squared. And again, to get rid of x squared, the squared part, I get rid of it with a square root. So now I have x equals, and I need to do the square root of 12,800. $113.137. Now this said to round to the nearest tenth. Y'all know that tenths place is right here. This first number is 1. So you look at the next number, 3. 3 is below 5. So it's going to make sure that 1 stays the exact same. So 113.1. And what are my units of measure? We're talking about feet again. Alright, so that's how you do your quiz. It's going to be very similar. So please remember, on the back of it, when you have word problems, I need decimals. And then on the the front side, make sure you do Pythagorean theorem and reduce the radicals like it says. And alright, let's get it started. Hot.